Hello lovely people. I come to you today to share the good, the bad and the ugly of semi-retirement once you've emigrated. There's a huge amount of good, and I would hand on heart say it's one of the best things we've ever done. But sometimes, like this week, there are challenges no matter which country you're in and no matter what you try to do. So one of the things to watch out for, if any of you are ever contemplating emigrating, and some of you will already know this, is the red tape and finance side of things can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So for instance, today, my bank of 50 years plus, I've been with them a very long time, wrote to me to say, we don't love you anymore. We're going to close your account. We're going to give you 90 days notice, but because you live in Portugal and we're in England, there's a bit of a risk assessment we've undertaken, and you're not a good risk because you're in a foreign land. Now I get it, because I used to work for this bank many moons ago, so I really do recognise. But it's one of the things that a lot of banks and credit cards and credit card companies are doing, is closing down accounts if they know that English ones, if you're not living in that country. Because if anything were to go untoward and we were bad people and owed them money and not paid it back, they've got limited ways of getting hold of you. And so they're closing accounts down. So this leaves me in a little bit of an interesting situation because, as some of you know, I'm still self-employed, still working. I'm semi-retired. And this is my business bank account they're talking about. So I've now got to go off with the help of my accountant and sort something out. Talking of accountants, this is again something that we learnt the hard way. It depends on who you talk to as the answers you get. And I remember a colleague of mine who used to work for the Inland Revenue saying once, it depends on who answers the phone at the HMRC as to whether you get the right answer or not. And so when we first arrived here, over the first 3 years, 2-3 years, we got through 3 accountants pretty damn quick. The third ones were really good, and they've got offices in London as well as Portugal. So they knew the dual taxation system and all of that. And it was about 2 years later that we thought, actually, we know what we're doing now. So we moved to a little local accountant who we did test out beforehand. She's great. And if there's something she doesn't know, then what she does is she wanders around the corner to the local tax office and she asks them, rather than blindsiding you with, well, let's have a guess at this. So we think she's great. But there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so you need to do a little bit of research and make sure you're talking to the right people. And then everything settles down. But a good friend of mine, an old good friend of mine, once said, when you emigrate, for sure you do leave some problems behind, but you also pick up new ones. And one of those is dealing with the language when you're having an accountant sorting out your problems. Yeah, there's a bit of a barrier with the language, because Portuguese in the middle of Portugal is usually European Portuguese, not Brazilian Portuguese. And Brazilian Portuguese is like Spanish to learn, not too bad. Depends on how many grey hairs you've got, mind. European Portuguese, as our Portuguese teacher once said to us, is a cross between Russian and Spanish. And boy, she's not wrong. So when it comes to the bureaucracy, the tax office, the banks, the accountants, depending on where you live, because if you're in a city, no problem. But if you're out in the sticks like us in mid-Portugal, then the language can be a little bit of a challenge. So semi-retirement in Portugal is a mixed bag. However, the pluses are much more than the minuses. And we've, without shadow of a doubt, haven't ever regretted emigrating. We love it here. It doesn't come without its challenges. Next video, we'll be talking a bit more about what we like and what we don't like. But in the meantime, we're off to treat ourselves. Sorry, I'm sitting in my polytunnel because it's my chill place to sit when I want a bit of peace and quiet. But we're off to Tomar to finish videoing. We're going to go to the amazing World Heritage Site, the the Convento de Cristo.
Here we have the Tomar aqueduct, nearly 7 kilometres long, constructed in the 16th century under the ruling of King Philip of Spain and architect Philip Terzi. Comprising 180 arches that span the Pedues Valley, supplying water to the Convent of Christ in Tomar. The aqueduct is 30 metres tall at its highest point. It is totally free to visit and you can walk along the top, but you have to be brave. There are no guardrails and the footpath is only about 40 centimetres wide, with a 30-metre drop to the valley below. And here I am at the entrance to one of the filter houses and the entrance to the walkway along the top. However, today it seems to be closed, possibly due to the storms in January. So let's cut this short and travel a short distance to Tomar and the Convent of Christ. But first, let's have some lunch.
So welcome to the central heating system of years gone by. Light the fire. And then there's a chimney system which feeds the convento.
And the hot air ducts to the back of the rooms.
See.
Now, have you lads ever seen Harry Potter?
Can you imagine the candles floating in the air?
I always wondered what these were. I thought they were communal loos, but I think you put your pots in there to heat the food.
Yes, Steve, you have a fire underneath and you light your backside.
Imagine a massive wood fire here. With the chimney going up. There she is again. Always gets into these videos, I don't know why.
This has a real interesting 3D effect. It's quite dark in here. Oh, it's coming out okay. Gives you a very weird sense when you're in here though.
This is the cafe within the Convent of Christ. To see the convent properly, it does take quite a few hours to get round and see everything, so it's very, very nice to be able to have a break and a cool drink.
Quite a nice view. Tomar. Coaches are arriving. Best get here early in the height of the season for sure.
Sì?
Sì.
Sì.
We weren't.
We're
I wasn't
videoing
ready.
now. Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
yeah.
Hi guys, we're back at the casa after a lovely day out in Tomar at the Convent de Cristo and also the Tomar aqueduct, and we had a fine day. So what do you think, Nick?
My feet hurt. It's surprising how long it takes to go around it. Part of it was closed. They're renovating a lot of it, actually.
And also the aqueduct. It's a real shame I couldn't get on top of the aqueduct because I've walked up there along that very narrow walkway, and it is quite scary. I mean, it's only sort of that wide, and there's no guardrails. You know, health and safety in Portugal doesn't really exist. It's a breath of fresh air.
I won't actually go up there. I'll go up the steps, but I won't go out on the aqueduct itself. But it makes my tummy flip. One of the things we like about Portugal, actually, is, well, maybe we shouldn't say this, but not quite so much red tape. And so there's a bit of freedom a little bit for people to do, you know, what they want to do.
Yeah.
We do laugh sometimes.
We do.
You go along the dual carriageway, going, you know, 70 miles an hour equivalent, or maybe slightly more.
120 kilometres per hour.
And there'll be sort of 3 cones in the central reservation with a couple of workmen. Yeah, and we frequently laugh and say, in England, you'd have 5 miles of cones before this. But anyway.
But then again, there's not so much traffic. You know, sometimes you don't see a car. It's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, we hope you really enjoyed today's video. We'll be doing lots more, so stay tuned. We do hope you like the video and like the channel. Good here, isn't it? Portugal. And please, if you liked it, please like the video, subscribe and share to family and friends or whoever. It would really help us going forward, as this is a very new channel.
And if you want to know anything about our lives out in Portugal, or you think there's a good topic you'd like us to cover, then do let us know. And whilst I'm talking to you, I'm rubbing Maya's ear, and I think, Dave, we've got a tick, so we're going to have to sign off here and go and do you, aren't we? Get you sorted. Anyway, take care, people. Have a good week.
Bye all.
Bye.